Okie dokie, I believe we are all the way live. Hello and welcome to my graveyard. I am your host of the evening, the Cemetery Man from Salem, Mass. Always taking names and kicking candy ass, live and in living color here with you only on the graveyard. Yes, ladies and gents, welcome to another edition of Grande's Graveyard, where tonight it is the best of the bad. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, horror's best, worst movies as told by me, as said by me, as reviewed by the Cemetery Man, John Grande, live in a living color here tonight. So I'm very excited to start the show here with you guys. We got a couple of people in the chat. Let's not neglect them. We got Miss C here live in a living color right before we actually went live, funny enough. And I don't know why my computer's running a little slow tonight. I clicked on this comment, and it's taking a hell and ever to load, and it looks like I'm frozen. That's not good. This is not good at all. Well, hopefully the computer can work its kinks out tonight. Chow Grande and Graveyard Crew, it is indeed as I chowed down and gobbled up criminally insane, crazy fat Ethel and what she ended up eating gourmet feast of horror. Hell yeah, love crazy fat Ethel. That's going to kick off the show tonight, Missy, so hope all is well with you. Chow Grande, I don't know if I'm ready for this. Happy Thursday, Graveyardians. Yes, my friend, yeah. We got three of the best of the bad, the best of the worst, and this is something I wanted to do for a while, and it's not just the typical cliche. Let's just talk about horror movies that we hate, and we're going to rant about, and they're technically bad, they're told bad, whatever. These are movies that genuinely are trying to be good and just miserably failed in a train wreck kind of way where they become entertaining and you sort of get endeared to the film, you know, and that's the biggest case with these three movies we talk about here tonight. I don't hate any of these three movies. I think they're all wonderfully bad, and there's a difference between being bad and wonderfully best worst movie type of bad. And these three here tonight, of course, Troll 2 from 1990, The Fanatic from 2019, and Criminally Insane, aka Crazy Fat Ethel from 1975. They are no exceptions. In my opinion, they're the best worst trio of horror goodness when it comes to best worst movies. We got Juno in the house. Long time no see. Juno, hope all's well. Hey Grande, that Roadhouse remake was a piece of shit, and they used CGI on the fight scenes. What the fuck? All right, that's a random comment, but welcome, Juno. Hope all is well with you. We got Double V in the house. Villainous Vixen. Hey everyone. Hey Villainous Vixen. Hope you're feeling better. I know that over the weekend you said you weren't feeling the greatest, so I hope you're feeling better, my friend. Hope all is well with you. We got the Hitman, Ghostface Brett in the house. What's up? What's up? What's up, Ghostface Brett? Hope all is well with you. All good on our end, John. No freezing. Okay, I froze when I clicked on the first comment for whatever reason, and now it's okay. So I don't know. It seems weird tonight. It's like it's working, then it's not. It's been kind of sporadic in how it works. So as long as you can see and hear me, that's great. So I don't know what the heck's going on. We got Villainous Vixen in the house. Yes, I'm much better. Great to hear that. Born to be rad. Garrett's in the heezy. Garrett caught the WrestleMania Night 1 and Night 2 reviews. I also want to wish you a happy belated, my friend. Happy belated. Hope you had a great birthday. Loved the WrestleManiacs, kind of WrestleManiacs. I don't know. It's on the Dead Pit channel and on Garrett's channel, but awesome reviews of WrestleMania's Night 1 and 2 for any wrestling fans in the house. Really, really good stuff on that. And yeah, so tonight I wanted to dive into some of the best of the bad, the best, worst horror movies out there. And to me, the one that always comes to mind first, it may not be the best worst. I actually do think Troll 2 is the best worst movie. Like, I do believe in that movie being the best bad horror movie of all time. But this one might be a personal favorite of mine, and it's from the year 1979. Of course, it stars the late Priscilla Alden, and of course is directed and written by Nick Millard, who is famous for a lot of bad, notorious, sleazy porno kind of, exploitation type of films. But this one's from 1975, and it's absolutely his magnum opus. This is Criminally Insane, aka Crazy Fat Ethel, which, I mean, if you're going to use the title of this movie, you have to use Crazy Fat Ethel. I mean, there's no other ifs, ands, buts about it. And of course, I can do a brief plot synopsis. An obese woman recently released from an insane asylum kills anyone and everyone who attempts to get in her way of her next meal. Yes, Criminally Insane, aka Crazy Fat Ethel. Now, this was a movie I stumbled upon years ago on YouTube. This was one that I saw it, and at the time when I saw it, it was listed on YouTube as Crazy Fat Ethel. And this is, I watched it in like 240p. I think I watched it in parts because this is back when YouTube had the time limit. It might have been 4 parts at 15 minutes because the movie only runs about 61 minutes. It's a very short film. But I immediately was endeared to the movie because I always loved the old school drive-in 70s exploitation type of style movies. I'm a huge Last House on the Left fan, huge Hills Have Eyes fan, huge fan of that entire era of horror. And this was one where it definitely has that gritty grindhouse style look, feel, and sound to it. Just has that aura to it where, of course, we follow Priscilla Alden, who is just getting out of a mental asylum. She goes to live with her grandmother, and the grandmother, of course, over the first day watches her come home and eat a whole pound of bacon, a dozen eggs. She has a whole loaf of bread. She has 2 whole boxes of Nilla wafers, and she's still hungry. And of course, after all this stuff happens with Crazy Fat Ethel, the next morning, the grandmother has locks on the cabinets. And she says, listen, you're going to eat 3 meals a day. You're going to have portions. We're going to lose some weight for you. It's not good for your heart to be eating this much. And I was just, I'm like, okay, where's this going to go? And she's like, here, I got this little key and I'm going to hold on to it. And immediately Ethel's not having this. Give me that key. And chases this woman around and just starts stabbing the holy hell out of her. And you get this awesome, very Crayola red type of blood in the film, very much in the vein of a Herschel Gordon Lewis, the godfather of gore, very much in the vein of the Dawn of the Dead style blood, which if people don't know, this weekend, it's the 45th anniversary screenings of Dawn of the Dead. They're going to be screening all over the country. I don't know if there are anyone's in theaters near you. I highly recommend you get tickets. Coolest thing ever. Galen Ross and Christine Romero are going to be, or Christine Forrest, I guess, will be at the screening I'm at. So I'm so excited to meet them. I missed them at Living Dead weekend, so I'm very excited to meet them. So brief kind of trail, but the gore in this movie does look like the Crayola, bright, vibrant red gore that's in a movie like Dawn of the Dead. And that's immediately, like, I was like, okay, I love the look of this, the feel of this. There's some really bad ADR in the movie where like the characters would be speaking to each other and you can just clearly tell it was recorded later. And I loved that about the movie. I was like, this is just so, it endears you to it. It's just so terrible. And over this entire 60-minute movie, we just basically watch Ethel kill people again and again and again over whatever she wants to eat next. She calls the delivery boy of the supermarket, hey, I want the normal order, whatever she gets, ×2. I want whatever you get in a week doubled. The kid shows up to the door. He says, hey, that'll be, $80 or whatever. And she's like, oh, I only have $4.50. And he's like, well, I can't give you the food. I'm so sorry, miss. He turns around. She cracks him over the head with a bottle and just repeatedly just starts stabbing the kid. It's absolutely crazy. Do you not get between Ethel and her great next meal, right? Am I right? I mean, you can't be messing with Ethel here on Grande's Graveyard here tonight. We've got a couple more people checking in the chat. We got Texas THC 1965. Hola Grande, and everyone. Hola Texas. Hope all is well with you, my friend. We got Miss C saying, according to Letterboxd and IMDb, Criminally Insane 2, and Crazy Fat Ethel 2016. I know that's technically, it was remade, and they did do a sequel, which is very much like Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2, where most of the sequel to Crazy Fat Ethel is just flashbacks from the first movie, and we maybe get some new footage of her in another home or whatever. So, I mean, it is what it is, but it's quite entertaining for sure. Let's see. We got Mernsey in the house. Hey, what's up, Graveyard fam? Let's rock and roll. Rock and roll, strut and stroll. Mernsey, I can safely say I've never seen a single film from tonight. Well, you're missing out, my friend, because these 3, it was a fun week of show prep. I'll just leave it at that. We got Alpha Romero in the house. And Alpha, man, I thought of you today when I heard the O.J. Simpson news. And actually, fun fact, next week, Alpha Romero will be on Grande's Graveyard as we do the Horror Roundtable volume number 8. I'm very excited for that. Alpha, always great to talk to him and talk all things. And funny enough, a few days ago, he uploads the Juices on the Loose documentary that Romero directed. Mike Gornick worked on it. And just days later, O.J. passes away. Weird. Just so Like, what weird, crazy timing. But man, I'm sure you thought the same thing. Absolutely wild. Mateo says, speaking of crazy fat and bad taste, have you ever seen Pink Flamingos? Of course I have. That's a John Waters midnight movie spectacular, if you will. Not one of my favorites, but definitely it's definitely struck a nerve at the time. We need a new edition of Crazy Fat Ethel on physical media. I am completely in that boat too. I watched it in HD on Prime. I think Amazon Prime has it, uploaded for free. So you can watch it if you have Prime. And I'm sure it's probably on other various streaming. And I'm sure it's here on YouTube still. It deserves a special edition. Now, I know the director has sadly since passed away, and the star, Priscilla Alden, she has passed away. So I know he did do a short tribute video to her. It's like 13 minutes long of him talking about their friendship and them working together over the years. Of course, they worked on films like Death Nurse 2, a lot of these really awesome, small, independent, really, really low budget horror pictures where, Priscilla Alden was the star. And she was great in this movie. I will say, if there is a lot of best of the bad in this, but she plays it so deadpan and so kind of just like nonchalant. Like, she doesn't show any emotion. She doesn't show any love for anything else or anybody else. She's rude. She's, obese, and she just loves food. She just wants her next meal. There's no other thing to her character. It's a great one-dimensional character, and it's truly very funny. We got Salty P in the house. What's good, everyone? Salty P, what's going on with you, my friend? Hope all is well with you. We got Kal-El in the house. Kal-El, what's going on, my friend? It won't let me click your comment. I don't know why. There you go. Kal-El, what's up, buddy? Yeah, I'm bad luck. Dude, I was like, as soon as I saw it, I was like, and Alpha just posted that. Like, that's just so, like, what weird timing. That happened with me and Ray Stevenson. Me and my friend, we were talking about the Punisher movies with Dolph Lundgren and, then the one with John Travolta, who will be discussed tonight with the Fanatic. And then, of course, the Ray Stevenson, the Punisher Warzone movie. And we were talking about that and all that. And then the very next day, Ray Stevenson passes away at 58. Which is way too young. I think he was around 58, 59, somewhere around there. So sad to see. I was so upset when I heard that. So we were like, damn it, like we jinxed poor Ray Stevenson's. Bad luck, man. I don't know what it is. But this movie is just a riot. I mean, the amount of food we see Crazy Fat Ethel eat in this movie is truly astonishing. There is a scene where she eats about 12 cinnamon rolls that are just on there. And then her like sister, I guess, she brings home her boyfriend, who's this very verbally abusive and physically abusive kind of ass guy. And we do get introduced to him in a bar scene where, if you look closely, very closely, you'll see Buck Flowers in there without a beard. And if you remember Buck Flowers, he's been in a ton of Carpenter films. He's in They Live as the guy with the watch towards the end. He has these like giant eyes. He's in Blood Games, which Vinegar Syndrome dropped. He's a huge like character actor, been in tons of stuff. And I noticed Buck Flowers upon this past view. I'd never realized. I was like, that's Buck Flowers. Holy crap. Like, without the beard. I was just so like astonished by that. Like, there he is. Wow. Doesn't really have a big role in this movie, although I think that was a mistake. I would have loved to have seen Buck Flowers have that scene to Crazy Fat Ethel. That only would have added to the fun and enjoyment of this. But we have the sister and her boyfriend character, and just some of the stuff they say to one another is quite funny too. Like, there's a scene where they're in bed with one another, and she goes, "Hey, I have to ask you something. Why do you beat me all the time?" And he just very, very honestly and harshly and terribly says, every now and then you need a beating. And she's like, "Oh, I love you." And they just start kissing. I'm like, what? Like, she's just like, all right, this is so romantic. You just, every now and again, I need to get beat up. Like, holy moly. Like, what the heck, man? It's like out of left field dialogue in this movie. I know Miss C loved that. She messaged me before. She's like, did this lady really just like be like, yeah, great thing that you beat me every night. I was like, my God, like, it's just absolutely wild. Some of the stuff too, where she'll be eating this baked potato, it's like bigger than the plate, and she's eating the baked potato, talking to some of the dead bodies. You have this really bizarre dream sequence where Crazy Fat Ethel comes down in a big, like, pink dress and showing a little bit too much, and she's running outside, running with the ducks, all of this stuff, laughing in her bed, giggling in her bed, just absolute insanity ensues in this movie. I can't tell you enough about Crazy Fat Ethel. It to me is a great, great watch. It's really quick. Like I said, it's about 60 minutes long. It is free to watch on YouTube, on Amazon Prime. It's always been one that I just sort of been one of my personal, like, I love like great bad movies. Like the plot is just so simple and stupid that I love it. I just think it's just such a fun movie. I love everything there is to have, in Crazy Fat Ethel, aka Criminally Insane. To me, Nick Millard's best movie, and like again, the tagline: 250 pounds of maniacal fury. And we can even read the back of the VHS box here. 250-pound female psychopath is prematurely released from an asylum from the criminally insane. What little is left of her mind soon gives away as her gluttonous appetite. Food is shockingly equaled by her appetite for blood. A must see for horror fans. Yes. Just great. So simple, so silly, so over the top in a way, but effective at the same time. To me, a truly great bad movie. That I highly recommend. So definitely, I hope you guys do check out Crazy Fat Ethel. It's a fun one, man. This movie is fantastic. I totally agree. I want to see it. Totally watch it. It's on Amazon Prime for free. It's on YouTube, I'm pretty sure. I see Miss C comments down below. I found it on Plex, but a ton of ads. Okay, that's unfortunate. But again, it's still only an hour watch. So even with the ads, I couldn't imagine it being too long of a watch. So it is what it is. But Criminally Insane has always been one. And I think I've done a commentary in the past. It's one of my big go-tos on Thanksgiving, because it's a Thanksgiving-like horror movie where it's just this woman eating a bunch of food the entire time. Like that and Blood Rage, the uncut version of Blood Rage, because I saw the cut version on 35 millimeter and it just destroyed that movie for me. But no, absolutely love Crazy Fat Ethel. But let's move on. Let's move on to a movie where I've seen this movie twice now, and I truly still can't believe how bad this is. It's directed by the lead singer yeah, that's right, the lead singer of oh my God, why can't I think of the damn name? They sing all the fucking WrestleMania songs. My Way, Limp Bizkit. I don't know why I just drew a blank there. Limp Bizkit. They're the lead singer of Limp Bizkit, of course. Directed by Fred Durst, starring, oh my God, John Travolta. Oh my God, The Fanatic. Yes, The Fanatic from 2019. The brief is a brief plot synopsis. A rabid film fan stalks his favorite action hero and destroys the star's life. Yes, directed and written by Fred Durst. Wow. I've seen this twice. When I first saw it, I couldn't believe how bad it was. And I saw it in a theater with my good buddy. And I remember we were just like actually kind of excited to see, because I was like, okay, I like this type of film in general. I like movies like The Fan. I like Big Fan with Patton Oswalt. I'm thinking, okay, we're going to get something along these lines. We're seeing Travolta really step out of the mainstream, making a very, very low budgeted film with a guy like Fred Durst, who I actually had seen his previous films. I had seen The Education of Charlie Banks with Jesse Eisenberg and really liked it. I had seen The Long Shots with Ice Cube and really enjoyed that. But this is one of the most laughably bad, unbelievably bad movies I've ever seen, where it's like, I really do believe Fred Durst and John Travolta were trying to make a great, effective movie, and it just falls flat on its face. I mean, in the worst way possible, too. And it's like unbelievable. I mean, you get past the 20-minute mark, and you can't take the movie seriously anymore. Like it's like, all right, we're about 20 minutes in, I'm with you, I'm on board, and then just boom, off a cliff, just like completely loses you, and you lose all faith in the movie and possibly humanity. I don't know. So I do understand though where John Travolta was coming for this, because of course John Travolta in real life, his late son was severely autistic, and this movie, this performance, in a lot of ways was his tribute to his late son. He wanted to play someone with who was on the spectrum, and almost tribute his own son who had passed away years and years before this. Now, that's noble, that's nice, that's sweet, and that's a shame that that happened to his son. And I know that John Travolta, in several interviews, and I did my show prep because I read it and I was like, there's no way he said it. I've watched the interviews where he said it. John Travolta believes, of all the roles he has done, I'm talking Blowout, talking Saturday Night Fever. I'm talking Pulp Fiction. I'm talking Get Shorty. All these great John Travolta performances. And this, in his opinion, was his best performance he ever had. I'm sorry, John Travolta, but this is possibly your worst performance. And granted, it's up for debate. Gotti has got to be up there. I mean, there are some other really bad John Travolta movies and performances, so it's up for debate. But for me, for my money, this might be the worst John Travolta performance of all time. He is truly awful in this movie, and it's so awful that it begins to become like a comedy. Because I do believe that the director, Fred Durst, as you know, much as he's been made fun of over the years for, you know, Crack Addict and all these crazy songs that Limp Bizkit comes out with. And I know that John Travolta was taking it seriously because of his son. It's unbelievable how bad that both the direction and the lead performance is in this movie. It really, truly has to be seen to be believed. It's crazy. I mean, we're introduced to this character. He loves movies. He loves popular culture. And the first line, I see Mersey puts this right here. The first line, "Where's your washroom? I can't talk long. I have to poo." Like, how do you introduce a character like that? Like, I get it. He's on the spectrum. I understand. But what, like, how am I'm supposed to sit here and go, okay, he has to poo. Like I'm supposed to take that seriously and continuously take this character seriously or tragic or sad. See, that's the thing with this movie. It has sort of an identity crisis. I don't know what you were going for. I really don't. I don't know if they were going for sympathy for John Travolta. I don't know if they were trying to make John Travolta look like a psychopath that lost his mind, because Devon Sawa plays his big hero in the movie, whose name is like Hunter Dunbar. Hunter Dunbar is the name of the actor that Devon Sawa is playing, this big action hero. Hunter Dunbar is the name of the character. It's weird. And he's an asshole from the word go, you see him, all the way to the end. There's nothing to like about Devon Sawa's character, and he's just an asshole. So I don't know who we're supposed to be rooting for. And above all of it, we have this horrendously bad voiceover. I think it's the worst voiceover in the history of movies. It rivals movies like Diary of the Dead. It actually sounded just like the woman from Diary of the Dead to me. And it's worse. Like, at least in Diary of the Dead, she says some interesting things. Are we worth saving? You tell me. In this, oh my God, like, what? I couldn't believe some of this shit. You know, it was in that moment where, you know, John Travolta, he crossed the line. Of course, his name is Moose. That's the character's name is Moose. It's in that moment where he didn't just cross the line, he fucking nuked it. Like, what? He nuclear bombs crossing the line? Like, what? Like, just horrendous voiceover work. And John Travolta, just in some random ass scenes where he dress up as like a English boppy and puppycock, puppycock. He's just walking around the street just going, oh, puppycock, just repeating poppycock. Like, what? I don't understand. And there's this other guy in the street who, hey man, let's work together. Let's scheme people. Let's scam all these people out of their money. You know, we got to watch out for ourselves. And there's one scene where he goes, you know, screw this. You know what? You're just a pussy. And John Travolta just snaps at him and lunges and grabs the guy's neck. And he's like, I wish that Freddy Krueger would cut off your head and then it would roll in the street. A truck would squish it and everybody would watch it. It's just like, what the fuck, man? And you're just bursting out laughing at this point. Like, there's nothing to be taken seriously. And I don't understand why John Travolta would be like, oh, my best performance. I'm laughing at attempts where you're trying to be intimidating, scary. I'm using quotations because I truly don't know. I don't know what John Travolta was going for here. I don't understand. I really don't. I don't know if anyone does. It's just wild. But let me get back to the chat. I've been neglecting y'all for a little bit. Let's say uncut is always preferred. Absolutely. Ben Grimm, welcome, my friend. Hope all's well with you. Limp Bizkit, yes. What a debut for Durst. Well, this was number 3 for Durst, and I thought the first 2 were good. I like Education of Charlie Banks. I still think is a good movie. And that's an underrated Jesse Eisenberg performance, and I really like that movie. And Long Shots was good. He was 2 for 2 when I went in to see this. And I had heard the bad reviews, but I was like, I bet you all these bad reviews are just out of line, and boy, was I wrong. I was really wrong when I left I was like, wow, those reviews couldn't have been, they could have been more right. Absolutely garbage, though. The twist ending is good. Okay, so Texas thinks the twist ending's okay. Yeah, the first line, look who's talking. Sure. Listen, I'm a huge Travolta fan. I really always have been. I really like John Travolta. It pains me to see how bad his career has fallen. It's movies like this and Gotti that just, it plummets you. There's no real, people say, oh, in 1994, Pulp Fiction, there was the big comeback and John Travolta's back on the map. Look where he is not 20 years later. He's just done, or a little after 20 years later. Hey, Grane and everyone in the chat, got work in a few hours, so just wanted to say hi and stab the like button. Thank you. We'll catch the replay ASAP. Best wishes, everyone. T, hope all is well with you, my friend. That's awesome. Let's be honest. After 1990, most of Travolta made very debatable choices on choosing projects. Sure. But it only gets worse as you go on. Like you compare anything he did in the 90s to this or Gotti, I don't think there's anything even close to being as bad. It's just crazy how truly awful this is. Cinephile Sanity's in the house. Hey, good evening, everyone. Sean, what's going on, my friend? Hope all is well with you. Good to see you back. I saw you got hit by the YouTube censor ban for posting some GIF. I was like, oh my God, that's crazy. They cannot keep a good man down, though. He's back in a week, so welcome. Let's see. A little late, just woke up. Absolutely. James Abernathy, all the way from the UK. Hope all is well with you. JP's in the house. Good evening, Graveyard. Yes, and I know JP is a big Travolta fan, but oh man, this one. Travolta was amazing in the movie Basic. Sure. I always say my favorite Travolta movie is Blowout. I love him in Blowout. I think it's just such a great movie, great performance. It's one of my favorite 80s movies. I just love Blowout. But this is the opposite of Blowout here tonight at Grande's Graveyard. As we watch John Travolta embarrass himself. Truly embarrass himself. JP says Face Off, sure. Nick Cage, throw Nick Cage into the mix, baby. That shit. I love Face Off too. That's a fun movie. We watch John Travolta just embarrass himself, though, over the 80 minutes long that this movie is, over and over and over again. There's a scene where fucking John Travolta is uses this celebrity stalk app where he can tell where you live, and he wants to leave a note for Hunter Dunbar. He leaves it, and then the maid comes out, and he's like, wait, don't read it, and he runs up to this woman, and he's in a Hawaiian shirt and dad Nike shoes that you could get for $19.99 on retail, and the fucking dad socks, and just the worst haircut of all time. And I know it was Fred Durst said it was based off of someone who had stalked him. The entire movie is based on a real life stalker that really did stalk Fred Durst and his family for a while. And he decided, he was like, let me mold this whole, the look of the character after that guy. So that's why John Travolta is dressed like that, even though to me, if you're a horror fan, if you're an action fan, you would be wearing, I think it would have been cooler to dress up in merch, like black, black horror t-shirts we wear, or I wear every week. I think that would have been more accurate, but I guess in his mind, oh, my real stalker wore this type of stuff. So this was more accurate for Fred Durst. But fuck, accuracy was not the problem in this movie. He runs up to this maid. Don't read it. And she starts screaming and slapping the shit out of him. And he's like, ah. And then he just judo punches this woman in the nose, and then her head cracks on the bird feeder, and then she goes to the ground, and he just watches her, and he doesn't feel remorse or anything. He just goes, oh, that's a nosebleed. He's shaking his head. He's like, that's a nosebleed. I've had one of those. They're real bad. That's real bad. The only way to get rid of it is to use paper towels and stuff them up your nose. And then the scene just ends. It's just bro, what? Oh my God, what the hell, John Travolta? Oh my God, John Travolta. He goes to this guy's house and just has a grand old time. It's in similar vein, it kind of ripped off Robin Williams in 1 Hour Photo, which that's a great movie. 1 Hour Photo is if you did something like this, but right. The tension, the mood, the performance from Robin Williams, that's truly a guy that you do feel sympathetic for. He does do heinous things, but when you learn at the end what had happened to that character, you immediately are endeared to him. Okay, I feel like what you did was wrong. You should go away for some time, but I get it. I see why you did it now. It's just, I don't understand anything that's happening or any like motive other than, oh, this is a fanatic that had his heart broken at a signing because he goes to meet, Hunter Dunbar, Devon Sawa at a meeting. He gets pulled away from the table right as he's there to sign his vest from a vampire movie. And Devon Sawa is just a prick to him every scene you see him. Don't come to my house. I'll give you your fucking autograph. How about I sign your face with my fist? Devon Sawa is just the meanest human being alive in this movie who listens to Limp Bizkit on the radio. I mean, what a self-plug for Fred Durst. You like this? I love Limp Bizkit. I'm like, dude, what the heck is going on, man? It's just horrible. Like, oh, it's embarrassing. And this whole movie just culminates into John Travolta tying up Devon Sawa to the bed and just coming in the room and doing random things. Like he'll come in the room, hey, we should get ice cream. He'll come in the room with a Friday 13th Part 3 mask and be like, they're coming to get you, Barbara. Oh, you don't know that? I'm starting to think you don't know these horror pictures. Like, it's just insane. Like, I truly don't understand how Fred Durst didn't just go to him on day one and be like, let's try to do this a little differently. But again, maybe that's the situation where John Travolta did produce this. He put his own money into it. He's easily the biggest thing star-wise that you have. I mean, Devon Sawa has not been in a lot of movies of note. I mean, I love Idle Hands. I love Final Destination. But how much since then, really, right? I'm guessing that Fred Durst was maybe starstruck, even though he had worked with a guy like Ice Cube and Jesse Eisenberg. Granted, they're no Travolta. They're not. Maybe he just couldn't, with the personal connection of Travolta's son actually being autistic and passing away. I would feel weird as a director too, maybe coming up to someone and being like, hey, you got to do it this way. You should change this. When John Travolta raised someone who was severely on the spectrum, I maybe think that maybe could have, I don't know. I'm trying to maybe play a little bit of devil's advocate here. Maybe that's what happened. I don't know. But it should have been kiboshed on the first day. Been like, listen, John, I know this is a sensitive subject for you. I know you've invested in this. I know you believe in this. But we've got to try something else because it's just coming off too goofy and funny. And maybe they just went so far down that road that there was no turning back. And we get the movie that we get. And listen, I am thrilled that we get the movie that we get because it is so funny. Like, you will laugh your ass off watching this movie from start to finish. There's no, unless you have no sense of humor, I could not see you watching this movie with a straight face. It's just absolutely absurd in the best way. Like, it's, oh my God, it's just incredible. But let me get back to comments. I see that you guys have been commenting quite a bit. Let's see. I think we were here. Blowout with Travolta always stands out most for me. Me too. I don't mind him as an actor, but never been crazy about his performances. That's totally fair. I think that's absolutely fair. Oh, how did I forget Battlefield Earth? Battlefield Earth is truly terrible too. The beginning of the end. Yes, it was. That's a movie though that I would just say is bad. Like, I don't find that movie. I know some people think Battlefield Earth is so bad it's good. I don't. I think Battlefield Earth is just straight up bad. Like, I don't ever want to watch it. It's so crazy and silly and dumb that you can't turn away from it. Like, it's truly just absurd and bad in every level and just destroyed that you can't help but watch it. And everybody would watch it, We got Brittany Ward in the house. Hey, Grande, agreed. 1 Hour Photo was a great movie, great plot. Totally agree, Brittany Ward. Hope all is well with you. We got Right on Target in the Heezy. Hey, oh shit, I love this one. Oh man, I hope we all love The Fanatic. I mean, The Fanatic is truly just an absurd, crazy movie in the best of ways. It really is. It's definitely the movie that you're going to see on a best of the worst, or the best of the worst list, with an actor like John Travolta in it. And what's crazy is he's the best worst thing in it. Like, without John Travolta, I don't know if this movie would be so bad it's good. I think if you get a great performance here, it just would have been like a mediocre, you forget it in 5 minutes movie. With this freaking movie, though, you could never forget it. Like, when I was like, holy shit, like, this is going to be remembered forever. And, not in the way they wanted. Probably were thinking, awards. They were probably thinking praise. And instead, they got made fun of, like, they were the nerdy kid at school. And it's really sad because that's all a big part of the movie is this guy keep getting put down. But I mean, with this performance and the tone of the movie, I could see why. I mean, there's no arguing that it's bad. I am 75% certain. I know literal people Travolta may have based the performance on. Sure, I know. Like I was saying before, it was his son that he really was trying to pay homage to, and I do think there's a nice story to be had there. I do think that was nice of Travolta. But man, I mean, shit. Like the whole Freddy Krueger line and wearing the Jason stuff and quoting Night of the Living Dead and the scene where he breaks down in front of the TV. You just sit there and you pretend. That's all you do is pretend. Anyone could do it. Like oh my God, it's so bad. I don't know. It's just, it's so terrible. It really, really is. Idle Hands. Hell yeah. Throw up the hands for Idle Hands. I love Idle Hands. That's a great movie. I think the Blu-ray for that for some reason is like $100 plus. It's like crazy out of print. I don't know why. But man, I have to get my hands on Idle Hands Blu-ray someday. If I ever come across one for the right price, I'll do it. If I ever see it at a bid for $5, I'll buy it. I would buy this too, just because it's like so fucking crazy how bad it is. But it is also free everywhere. Like, again, it's another movie I watched on Amazon Prime. It's not a movie I had to go out and buy or anything like that, or illegally stream or anything. Like, this is a movie that, you can easily find it. Like, it's no way you're going to have a hard time finding The Fanatic. It's a movie that's only 5 years old. John Grande, world's biggest Limp Bizkit fan. Oh, yeah, baby. I listen to break stuff. I listen to keep rolling. Why keep rolling? Come on, Graveyard. Let's keep rolling. My Way with the classic WrestleMania 17 of Stone Cold and The Rock. Just one. I don't mind some of that stuff, but that's the WWE fan in me, I guess. And Crack Addict. And their music is probably terrible, like subjectively. But like, the fact that the Undertaker would ride to the ring with Limp Bizkit, it was just like, dude, what biker's listening to freaking Limp Bizkit? I don't know, just so silly. But when I was a kid watching that stuff, I was like, yeah, Undertaker, hell yeah. Isn't 7-Eleven literally doing the hot dog water thing with them? Are they? I don't know. I didn't hear that. We're rolling on the Graveyard. Hell yeah, keep rolling. This fucking movie though. Oh my God. I truly think this is just one of the craziest, like, best worst movies out there. I really do. Or did I fall for misinformation online because it was funny enough? I mean, maybe, but it still, that sounds awesome. To quote Robert Downey Jr., you'll never go full Topic Thunder. Yeah, of course. Yeah, no, and I know what word you're talking there. And I've said that word on the stream. I know that's a word that offends people or whatever. So I'll try to limit my usage of it if I have used it in the past. Well, I have for sure. So we'll try to be more politically correct, but not really. But then The Fanatic, man, you got to see it to believe it. Watch The Fanatic. It is truly so bad. It's fucking great in every way. And there's no other way or direction to look than John Travolta's performance. It's truly just unbelievable. It's Eric Freeman in Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 bad. Like, it's that type of performance where I love Eric Freeman. I love Garbage Day and the eyebrows. And so what are we doing? Are we just jerking off, Doc? And I don't sleep. Everything Eric Freeman says is the eyebrows. I think somebody did the math and counted. It's like he raised his eyebrows 190 times in the movie. Like, just, I don't know, that it's that type of performance where you're like, you can't watch it and take it seriously. You just laugh at it. And it's a shame because that's not what they were going for, but they did create a more memorable movie, I guess, in the long run. The casual cruelty of it was pretty funny. I think I'd had loved that even if Travolta was toned down. See, no, I think him toning it up made it so memorable. Like, he just really went full on, like, I am autistic, man. Like, and he pulled it off in a so bad it's good way, So I mean, there is something to be said for that. But the creme de la creme of the best worst movie of all time. They even made a documentary called just that, Best Worst Movie, the story of Troll 2. I mean, there's no other great bad movie to me that takes the cake away from this one, because this really is, to me, the Citizen Kane of great bad movies. And it came out in the year 1990. It's directed by Claudio Fragasso. It was produced I know under a pseudonym, but because he didn't want you to know. But of course, it was produced by Joe D'Amato, of course, and several other Italian producers and investors. This is from the year 1990. This is Troll 2. Yes, Troll 2. Brief plot synopsis. A vacationing family discovers that the entire town they're visiting in is inhabited by goblins disguised as humans who plan to eat them. Yes, Troll 2. Of course, directed by Claudio Fragasso, written by Rosella Drudy. This is truly just the perfect storm of a movie that was trying sincerely to be serious and a good horror movie and just failed epically in every single way. In writing, in direction, in acting, just every single way it failed. It failed epically bad. Not just in a, bad, let's move on. Just in a way where you couldn't possibly, move on from each of the bad things in this movie without stopping and being like, holy shit, let's stop and laugh at this type of thing. Of course, the biggest thing with Troll 2, everyone, well, what about Troll 1? Of course, Troll 1 had come out in, I believe it was 1986. It's directed by John Carl Buechler. And John Carl Buechler, famously before his death, he always hated Troll 2 because he was like, oh, people should watch Troll 1. That's the good movie. That's the movie I directed, did the effects for. Julie Louis-Dreyfus is kind of naked in it. Harry Potter, the kid's name in the movie is Harry Potter before J.K. Rowling even wrote the books. Troll, I have reviewed the first Troll on here. I'm not a fan of the movie, but I know he was always pissed off. And what happened was Claudio Fragasso directed a movie called Goblins. And that was what this movie was. It was written as Goblins. It was shot as Goblins. In the movie, they called Goblins, and the town in it that the family goes to is called Neilbog, which is goblin spelled backwards. Everything is goblin about it. American investors got a hand on it and said, hey, you know what we'll do? We'll release it as a sequel to that Troll movie that came out a few years ago. We'll call it Troll 2. And thus you create the title for the best, worst movie ever made, even though Trolls have nothing to do with the movie. And I know that the director, Claudio Fragasso, he's been asked in interviews, why is the movie called Troll 2 and there are no trolls in the movie? And he got upset. He was like, same shit. Like, he got so upset and was like shooing the guy away. He was like, next question, to get him off the stage. Like, Claudio got so upset. But where to begin with this movie? I mean, of course, the whole story goes that a lot of the people that auditioned for this, they wanted to be extras. And because they didn't have that much money, Joe D'Amato didn't want to put up the money. I also think Bruno Mattei might have had a hand in this. I know there were a lot of notable Italian producers, directors, writers, what have you, behind the scenes that had a hand in this. And of course, Claudio's resume is legendary. I mean, I think we all know the movie Night Stalker. I think it's Night Stalker or Night Killer, which was released in Italy as the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, which if you haven't seen that movie, that's another one that could be on best worst list. I mean, it's just such a funny movie, just insane. I'm pretty sure Emergency's seen it. I'm almost positive he has seen it. And what happened here is just truly epically bad. They hire these, extras, the people that were auditioning to be extras, hire them as the leads. The father in the movie was a local dentist. The mother in the movie, who's probably the best actress rewatching it, I thought that she did a good job in the movie, even though sad to see that she went batshit crazy cat lady years later. The son is pretty bad. Michael Stevenson, who does do the documentary on this movie years and years down the road. And of course, none worse. The worst actor in the movie, without a doubt, is the actress playing the sister, which is crazy because she got the most work after it. Just insane. Her line deliveries in this is just unbelievable. Like, I swear to you, it's delivered like this. The boyfriend kind of breaks into the window, like Skeet Ulrich and Neve Campbell before that was cool. He goes in and she punches him. And I'm quoting a movie here. Don't cancel me, please. She punches the boyfriend in the balls, and he goes, "Oh, what are you trying to do? Make me a homo or something?" And she just looks at him. She goes, "It wouldn't be too hard. My father hates you. He would cut off your nuts and your itty bitty nuts and eat them. He can't stand you." Like, her delivery is actually insanity. Like, you're like, what happened? Like, Oh my God. Like, oh, every scene she's in, it's like, wow, this is the worst acting I've ever seen. And I know that to this day, she refuses to put this on her resume because she has gotten jobs since. Good looking woman, but man, I mean, possibly the worst actress I've ever seen. Really, possibly in there. I mean, really, really, really bad. To the point where it's funny. Like, just he can't stand you, and like crossing her arms and shit. And I hope that they eat him up. I hope that Grandpa Seth just haunts you forever. Just horrible fucking shit. Um, we have the grandfather who is, I guess, gone, and he keeps seeing the grandfather in these visions, or Joshua, stop the parents from eating, and stopping them on the side of the road, things like that. The whole family kind of takes this trip to a town called Neobog, which is goblin spelled backwards. And of course, the whole rules of the horror movie: if you eat or drink anything from the town of Neobog, whether it be their famous milk or their gourmet green pastries, you will become food for the goblins, and the goblins can feast upon you. And I always was like, what a weird idea. I actually don't mind the idea, and I was always curious. And then when you see the documentary, you understand Rosella Drudy, who wrote this. She and Claudio were together at the time, and I think together to this day. She said that at the time, a lot of her friends went vegetarian and they wanted to lose weight. And she wrote this film in spite of her friends that wanted to better their health lives. So she wrote the antagonists to be these trolls that ask you to drink your milk of Neobog, to eat your food of Neobog, so you can become plant food for the goblins to eat you up. That was the whole psychology, the method to her madness of this movie. And it's like, bro, what? Like, what a weird like motive for the killers. But man, again, it's just kind of funny. Like the entire movie, eat this. Why don't you eat this? Just weird. Like you just have these awful scenes in the woods. Hey, eat this, drink this up, and these people become edible plant food for the goblins. It's hysterical. It's just like what's going to happen. And there are a million and one funny scenes in this. Of course, the first one that comes to mind is the son has this, vision of the grandfather, and he says, "Hey, Joshua, you have 30 seconds. Stop your family from eating the food on the table." So the kid just runs up on the table and whips his dick out and pisses all over the fucking food. They're like, "What are you fucking doing?" They throw all the food away, saves their lives, and the father carries the son on his shoulder. You see the writing? You know what it means. He has this bad southern accent. It's hospitality, and you can't piss on hospitality. I won't allow it. We'll have to tighten our belts till we don't feel hunger pains. And oh my God, just like the fucking hysterical line delivery of the dad, who was like a local dentist who never acted after this until, this movie was discovered as being this big cult classic. You'll have these kids on the bus that, they see this woman in the woods and, hey, what's going on, lady? And you're attractive. They kind of follow her over to this like sort of Hansel and Gretel lair where we do meet the big female villain of the movie, which is played by, of course, Deborah Reed, the great Deborah Reed, who just passed away like a year ago. So rest in peace, Deborah Reed. She's great in this movie and in a fun way too. Credence Lenore, I can't even say the last name, but she's great in this. Like, it's just this crazy over the top villain who wants to eat people in order to regain her youth. In similar vein, I guess, to Hocus Pocus, which comes out a few years after that. Kind of similar. You have that famous scene where they're eating the woman that went in there, and the guy with the glasses, he's kind of sitting on the floor. He's like, "Oh my God, they're eating her, and then they're going to eat me. Oh my God." It's like the most drawn out line. Oh my God. That line has become like the most famous thing in the movie, is that one line. Oh my God. Just epic. It's just so fun, man. I absolutely adore some of the line deliveries here from the actors because they just truly are so bad. They're great. Let's see. It really did escalate how cruel, how much of a pumpkin type he was. Like, if it was intentional, would have been a brilliant decision. See, that's the thing, man. I think the brilliance of great bad movies are when they're not trying to be bad. And what do I mean by that? Like, you look at some of these movies like Birdemic. You look at some of these movies like The Incredible Bulk. You look at some of these movies like Zombievers. Movies that Bad Milo. Movies that are trying to be like this is so stupid, when we're being, stupid with it. Like we know you're laughing at us and we're laughing along with you. That's the type of bad that I don't generally gravitate towards, because I know that you're in on it. I know it's like the mystique of, me discovering this for my own and enjoying this on my, like, it just completely takes it away from me. Whereas with these three movies, like I was talking about tonight, I don't think any of these three movies were made purposefully bad. I think that the Fanatic especially, I think they're trying to make a great movie. And I know with this movie in particular, Troll 2, Claudio Fragasso has said in interviews that I don't think it's a bad movie. He doesn't believe it to this day. He doesn't think it's a bad movie. He says, I don't care if critics don't like it. I don't follow critics, and critics don't follow me. And he made a great point in the documentary. He said, people want to say it's the worst movie, it's the best worst movie of all time. I don't, that you can let them say that, but I don't see it as that. I made a movie that, almost 35 years later is still being talked about, is still being watched, is still being enjoyed, whether it's in the intended way or not. You're still enjoying it. And we all watch Troll 2 and we laugh, we're entertained. And that, I think he's so right. Yeah, we do. We still do watch the movie 35 years later. I sat down and watched Troll 2 again and had a blast with it, laughed my ass off with it. And I do think that's the beauty of great bad movies. To me, when they're trying to be that way, it just kind of ruins the joke. It's like, yeah, like I got it. You're trying to be fucking stupid. Like, but with something here, you have just a crazy clusterfuck of things and ideas that maybe could have been good in capable hands and better actors and better writers and better filmmakers, etc. But it just all is so horrendously botched that you can't look away. It's just so funny how bad it is. And I think that's the beauty of a great bad movie. For me, that's at least how I always looked at great bad movies. But, totally understand if you think, had they gone intentionally bad, if it may have been better for you. That kid grew up to be good at photography, loved his doc so much. Yeah, I did too. I loved the documentary. Best Worst Movie is such a great documentary, like, and in a good way. It's not bad, so bad it's good. It's just truly a great documentary. And basically the documentary, it just goes through, it's like 20, I think it's actually 17, 18 years later. And you see the big cult following that this movie got. You see people having watch parties of it. You see, like, they have the scene where they're in an office and this office watches Troll 2 annually. And if you haven't seen the movie, you get the big V on your head because you're a virgin to the movie. And they have these, serve milk and green cookies and all these things celebrating Troll 2. They had sold out screenings in New York City and Chicago and California and Seattle and all these cities around the world just to see this fucking movie and how bad it is. And it's amazing to watch and, like, to see some of these people that were actors in the movie and some of their stories I thought were just brilliant. There's a great story in this where you meet the guy who plays the general store owner, who's great in the movie too, where, how may I help you? And got anything to drink? And can I have some water? That's the Devil's Brew. Can I have some eggs? Ah! Like, you just fucking over the top, like, ah! Like, he just says it to the kid, and he's like, have some of the Neobog milk. You'll love it. You'll enjoy it. It's great. Like, that guy, that actor who plays the general store guy, he was a mental asylum fucking guy who was out for the day, like, on a trip. And they were like, hey, we need an extra. We need an extra. Can we grab one of these guys really quick, do the scene? They put him in the fucking outfit. He said that they gave him a joint. He popped the joint, came out and acted. And his performance forever sticks with me because of that. And, like, there's this great, and I know he passed away recently, so rest in peace, Don Packard is the guy's name. They brought him out in New York City. They did a big film screening of it, and he was there in attendance as, like, a fan. He was like, I can't believe this. Look at all the people here to see this fucking movie. And they were like, would you want to say anything to the people, please? And it's this great part of the documentary. He comes out and they just give him, like, a standing ovation, applauding for this guy who played the general store owner who suffered his entire life for mental illness and things. And in the interview, he said something that really stuck with me, and I actually got emotional about when I watched. He said, I never liked who I was. I never was comfortable with who I was. And that one night, that one moment in New York City when I walked out and was applauded for my 2-minute role in the best worst movie ever made as the general store owner, I liked who I was for that 2 minutes of time. And I fucking remember I first saw it, I got emotional. It's like the scene in Moneyball when Brad Pitt says, how can you not be romantic about baseball? I felt that way, but about horror. Like, how can you not be romantic about the genre? It's beautiful. Like that guy, that man hated himself, was in and out of asylums the whole freaking his entire life. And then all of a sudden, here comes this terrible movie that he'll be remembered and seen and enjoyed forever. And that meant something to him. You know, I know he's gone now, but it meant something to him. And I thought that was just so beautiful, man. Like, I was like, wow, like, you can't recreate this. Like, that's true. Again, the beauty of this thing is that you can't try to go for that. It happened. Yeah, we need an extra, grab him, give him a joint, whatever, snap, Claudio, how to get his fucking film done. Get it done. You created magic, lightning in a bottle, in the weirdest of way. I think that what makes the original troll iconic is that it came out before J.K. Rowling wrote the Harry Potter books, and the young boy is named Harry Potter Jr. Yes, we did mention that. Welcome, Slasher Fred. Joe D'Amato is well known in Italy for producing pornographic movies, so I've heard. Yes, he has. He's also directed quite a few video nasties. Of course, Anthropophagus the Beast. Of course, Absurd. Joe D'Amato's great. I have a good time with most Joe D'Amato films because he really is a sleazy, trashy, exploitative filmmaker, and he knows it. He does not care what anyone thinks. He doesn't care what I think, even though I'm a fan. He doesn't care what you think if you're not a fan, you know? That's the beauty of Joe D'Amato, and I always really liked him. I always thought it was funny that he used a pseudonym, like an English, like something really like David Sale or something really like generically American. So he wouldn't, like, people wouldn't know he was involved in it, even though I'm like, Joe D'Amato, like, and I think Bruno Mattei had a hand in this. I read it somewhere. Would Righteous Kill make the not? Yes, Righteous Kill. You want to watch a movie with horrible editing. I think it's the worst editing I've ever, and I've seen Return to Sleepaway Camp, which is that movie has some horrible editing too. Which, funny enough, I know JP is a huge Sopranos guy. Vincent Pastore is in Return to Sleepaway Camp, and the late Isaac Hayes, and probably the last, I think, on-screen role he ever had. And they dressed him up like Chef from South Park, funny enough. Righteous Kill, if you haven't seen it, that is one of the best, worst, like, crime thriller movies, if you will, where you have Al Pacino and Robert De Niro, and they're cops, and you also have the mom from Spy Kids. Her name escapes me at the minute, but it's just, oh my God, bad. Like, to the point where you're like, dude, how the fuck did Al Pacino, Robert De Niro do this movie? But that was at the time where De Niro was just doing anything, like hide and seek, and it became $100 million movie where it was about Dakota Fanning having an imaginary best friend that was killing people, and the twist, oh my God, it's Robert De Niro, I'm the killer, oh my God. That was the fucking twist. Like, I definitely, of the best, worst non-horror, totally Righteous Kill would make my list. Oh, yeah, Night Killer is a gem. Dude, I have the Blu-ray from Severin. I love Night Killer, man. Troll 2 is wild. Yeah, all the green slime and just the craziness. Like, there is a woman who seduces a man with a corn on the cob in the movie. And while they're eating the corn on the cob together, you see all of this popcorn shoot at them because it's heating up. Like, oh my God, like, it's insane. Oh, absolutely agreed. It's never achieved. Yeah, exactly. I think that's the beauty of it. Like, that, to me, that's like what makes a great bad movie. Like, I hate shit that's like, oh, we're bad. You get it? I'm like, no, you don't get it. Like, that the whole beauty of this is like, Claudio was trying and just failed. That's what makes it funny. If you do a second episode on Best of the Bad, you should include this stuff. See, man, I don't know if you'll agree with me or anyone will agree with me on this. I actually kind of think the stuff is just bad. The only good thing in the stuff is the infomercials. The infomercials in the stuff is great. The stuff is here now. And then good vibrations. Enough is never enough of the stuff. Like, the idea and the infomercials, 100 out of 10. 100. But the movie, oh my God, what a piece of shit movie the rest of it is. You have Danny Aiello in the movie randomly. You have, oh my God, why can't I think of his fucking name? Oh man, I'm drawing a blank at the guy, and he says something horrible in the movie too. He was in, I think he's in Goodfellas. Oh my God, I can't think of his Paul Sorvino. Paul Sorvino is also in the movie where you're just like, what the fuck? What's Paul Sorvino? And this is like the main head chief. Like, I don't know. I actually think this stuff is a bad movie, though, aside from the idea and the classic 80s infomercials, which I wish were in a better movie. But that's just me. I think I did cover the stuff on overrated versus underrated. One of those. I definitely covered the stuff. Tongue-in-cheek ones tend to be terrible. But I like to indulge in what if they did know here. Yeah, exactly. Totally. I'm with that for sure. LOL Troll 2 is one of the best awful movies to sit through, and the documentary is actually somewhat better than the movie itself. It is. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it does make could have said it better the year than Cinephile Sanity. I agree. It endears you more to the movie. Like, I loved the way the whole documentary set up where we meet George Hardy, the guy who's the dentist playing the dad, and how, he's been teased over the years. And, I was in the best worst movie ever made. Like, he has this great personality and smile, and loved the documentary. I thought it really, if there's ever a documentary that will endear you towards the movie it's talking about, it's best worst movie. I agree that Zombies and has seen some that would be considered bad because the budget wasn't there or whatever, but the plots were great and I still enjoy them. Sure, yeah, there's movies that will use creativity and just overcome problems, where you accentuate the positives and you hide the negatives. I've seen a lot of filmmakers do that. I think that's when you want to separate the best of the best from the good and great. I think, you look no further than guys that did a lot with nothing. You look at George Romero. I mean, he made the best movie ever made, Dawn of the Dead. In my opinion, the original Dawn of the Dead is the best movie ever made. Very excited to see it Saturday. He made that movie feel global. He made that movie feel grand and epic, and it has every single genre. It has horror, it has comedy, it has action, it has adventure, it has drama, it has biker film elements. It has everything. It's the most grand movie ever made, and he made that feel like it was $100 billion movie when he didn't even have $1 million in itself. I think it was like 900K. It's amazing. You look at what Sam Raimi did with The Evil Dead. He made the gold standard for independent horror cinema forever. And years later, that's the guy getting the job to make Spider-Man. That's the guy getting the job to make these big budget movies, was the guy that did the most with the least. So I totally understand and agree with you that when you see somebody that can overcome, a low budget or bad acting or what have you, and kind of turn it around and make it something great, turn chicken shit into chicken salad, that's when you truly have one of the best on your hands. Loved every time George was talking. So did I, yeah. God, that's so intensely bleak. I don't know. Like It's Beautiful, but also just Jesus Christ, auteurs are so cool. Generic Doctor, yeah. You ever see Who Killed the Captain Alex? That movie rules. I have not seen that. One of the best worst movies I've seen is Dead Time Stories. You have this guy, and I think that was that not hosted by Romero, right? I believe that might have been hosted by him. I remember that being quite bad, though. I'll have to check that out. Session Fred. Oh no, see, no, that might be my number one most hated. That's my number one most hated remake for sure. I'm a huge Day of the Dead lover, but yeah, Dawn was sick as hell. Oh, dude, Day of the Dead's great too, and I saw that last week on the cinema. So, I love the original trilogy. I think it's arguably the best trilogy ever made. Like, there's no doubt about that for me. I just love it. But back to Troll 2 and just some of its insanity. You have just such crazy over-the-top performances and characters, and it was cool seeing them all again in the documentary. I really did have a cool time seeing them all again in the Best Worst Movie documentary. It was so cool, to see these people years and years later, and they were kind of burying the director because I know there was the whole thing of, Claudio is Italian and he spoke very broken English. Here we have all of these English actors that are not really actors, they're extras at best leading this ship, and you could see why all the performances come out so bad. There was no communication, and because there was no communication, you have line delivery like the sister, like Connie. I mean, she's just terrible, but in a funny way again, and like you do have some really stupid things where like they'll try to get the kid to eat something and he channels them with a double-decker bologna sandwich. And I know people have even created video games where you could throw double-decker bologna sandwiches at the goblins in Neilbog and stuff like that. And like, I don't know, it truly does have a charm to it. Like, as bad as it is, it does have a charm to it. And I know there are some people that would agree with the director that never saw it as a bad movie. That I know there are people that grew up with it and just were like, wow, this is so amazing. Like, it's an interesting fantasy horror movie, and good on you if you think that too. But like, to me, every time I watch this, it never fails to make me laugh. It never fails to entertain me. It never fails to put a smile on my face. And honestly, it's so batshit and absurd from start to finish that to me, unless you have no sense of humor at all, I just think you have to enjoy Troll 2. I think it's just such a great bad movie. In my opinion, I agree with the whole sentiment. It is the best, worst movie of all time. It really is. Not even just horror movie, best worst movie. I know The Room, that's probably the one that people would say that's the best worst movie, of all time, the non-horror, whatever. I think The Room is funny too. Tommy Wiseau, it's amazing. But this to me I think this is always going to hold that candle for me. I really always love Troll 2. And like, even down to the stuff where like, the cover, that has nothing to do with this movie at all. That's not even in the movie. And like, even to the point where, going here and clicking here, I remember when this happened, where they released, it was like the 20th anniversary Neilbog edition of Troll 2. Like, seeing this in Walmart, I remember being like, Troll 2 has a special edition Blu-ray. I think this is the DVD, but it did, here we go here. Yeah, this was the Blu-ray, if you will. That, like, at the time, I remember seeing this in Walmart and being like, dude, what is the world come to? Like, this is crazy. Because I had seen Troll 2 before, the whole, it's on Blu-ray now and it's cool to like this movie now. Like, I saw it on the old schools, like the double feature DVD with Troll. And it was like, the door was open. I think maybe I could find it here. The door was open and there was like the troll peeking through it. And like, that was always, okay, here it is. Yeah. This was the one that I had rented as a kid, was this DVD. It was the double feature of Troll and Troll 2. And like the troll on that is the troll from Troll 1. So I had seen them and I watched them as a double feature young, and I was like amazed. Like, dude, this is like, Troll 2 is like hysterically bad. And then all of a sudden it's just like this crazy aura of loving to love this bad movie. And it's like awesome. It's really, really cool. If you see Captain, make sure it's with the audio track that has the guy that explains the movie as it's going, and it's a hype man. Okay, very cool stuff. Sometimes a fun commentary can help a movie like that. And Troll 2 is just truly the best worst. I don't know. I've always been endeared to it. It's always a movie that I've enjoyed. And I'm happy to see that it has the cult following that it does now. Like, it's not every day that a movie that you find underrated or, whatever, great and whatever, it has a following like this. And this movie does. Like, there truly is a big cult fan base for it. And I think it should be celebrated because it's so weird. And no matter, people putting down the director, and I know he's put down his actors. He said they were terrible. They were dogs. I know that's a big thing in Italy. If you refer to your actors as dogs, you're saying they suck, basically. And he said they were all dogs, so he buried them and stuff. Claudio's not had the kindest things to say, but I agree with him, man. You did make a movie that 35 years later I'm still talking about and I'm entertained by it and enjoy. So to me, you just can't beat Troll 2. So Troll 2, the best worst movie of all time. Love it, love it, love it. Ginger Ninja JK is in the heezy. Hello, everyone. Welcome, Ginger Ninja. Bring on the bad. Dude, we're just wrapping up, funny enough. This is going to be a shorter Granny's Graver. Unless, if you guys have stuff you guys want to talk about, you want to shoot the breeze for 20, 25 minutes, I would be down for that. If you guys have questions or, whatever. I guess I could give a brief what's going on the next 2 weeks. And if you guys want to talk about anything in particular or other great bad movies, for real, I mean, put it in the chat. I would love to talk with you guys for a little bit longer. I hate when these end. I always hate when Granny's Graveyards go to wrap up because I'm like, I don't want the show to end. I want it to go on forever because it's still real to me, damn it. But next week, we're going to be having Horror Roundtable number 7. We've got Alpha Romero coming on. We have Neon Black Reviews coming on. We had Horror Boy. Nate was going to come on, Explorer of Horror, Murphy's Mortuary. He was going to come on, but he can't make it, which stinks. So I'm going to have to find somebody else. So, I'll reach out. We'll see. So that's next week, Horror Roundtable number 7 or number 8, somewhere in there. And then the following week, we're going to be doing the Basket Case trilogy with me, Mernsey, and the Cabinet of Dr. Howdy Will. So that's going to be very fun. Basket Case trilogy. And I've got the May schedule almost made. It's still working out some kinks and stuff like that. But May schedule will be dropped in like another week or so. Probably the Monday before the Basket Case show. I'll drop that schedule for you all to check out. So that should be fun. One of the best, worst movies that I love is 1941, which was considered one of Spielberg's worst. Really? Oh, man. See, that's another one I would just say is bad. I think that's arguably Spielberg's worst. That's a good, what is Spielberg's worst? For me, it's Jurassic Park 2. I hate Jurassic Park 2, The Lost World. I think that's the worst movie he ever did. I really believe he phoned it in and did not care and just took the payday. But there's also, what is the one, I think Richard Dreyfuss is in it. It's just a weird movie. Like the character dies and then he's just interacting with these people and I think John Goodman might have been in it. I don't remember. It was terrible though. People saying hi. 1941 sucks. Yeah, I agree. And I love John Belushi. I mean, I'm one of the biggest Belushi marks that ever lived, but holy shit, man. It's a bad movie. I agree. I already talked about it with you, but Paramount is reviving the Scary Movie franchise. That's officially out of fucking ideas. LMAO. They resurrected Scary Movie. Yeah, that's right. And I know, like, I love the first. I would say the second Scary Movie has always been my favorite. But the first one is good too. I like the Wayans brothers. I think they're funny and I think they're talented and I think they know how to write spoof comedy. It's interesting though. I mean, I'll say, I think spoof comedies kind of died. Like when is I remember it was like all of these bad movies like Vampires Suck and Date Movie and Epic Movie and Disaster Movie and the Meet the Spartans and all these terrible spoof movies that came out. I think that so many of them came out that it just killed the idea of doing a spoof movie altogether, which is so sad because I like a good spoof movie. I really do. I think the first 2 Scary Movies were epitome of great spoof movies. But like, to me, man, when you look at what happened with, the Weinsteins firing the Wayans and they went after Scary Movie 3, they moved on from them. And man, you see the dip in quality. You see how bad Scary Movie 3 isn't the worst, but it's not good. Scary Movie 4 and 5 are terrible. So it's really a shame because I think the Wayans brothers made those movies work. And without them, it was missing it, man. It just it didn't hit the same. Avatar, okay. Avatar, you're saying Avatar is one of the best, worst movies? Really? See, I think Avatar is one of the most overrated movies. Like, considering that movie is like the biggest box office earner ever, I never got it. I always thought it sucked. And I don't think James Cameron has it anymore. I know that he's fucking around with all the physical media. Like, I know he fucked around with Terminator 2 until it was destroyed. I know he fucked around with Aliens. I think True Lies he fucking destroyed from what I understand. I didn't buy any of those 4Ks because I know that apparently he dabbled in it and tried to remove the grain and had CGI eyeballs added to Arnold Schwarzenegger in True Lies. Like, what the fuck? Like, I don't understand what he's on. I don't know what James Cameron's doing anymore. I really don't. I think he should just like literally create a blue man heaven for himself and just go there because I think he's totally lost his mind. Brittany Ward says, Grande, ... How do you feel about Pumpkinhead? Best, worst, loved part 2. Okay, so you love Pumpkinhead 2, which I believe was called Blood Wings. Pumpkinhead 1 has elements of being a classic. It's a little bit slow, but Lance Henriksen's really good in the movie. I really like, to me, one of the best performance of his career is the scene after they've killed his son and he kind of looks up in all anger. The death stare he gives that kid. That's one of the best performances to me. I love his intensity in that scene. Lance Henriksen really did a good job, in my opinion. And as for the Pumpkinhead sequels, my God. Pumpkinhead 2 Blood Wings was the Jeff Burr one, which is of the sequels probably the best, it's not a good movie at all, but that's how bad Pumpkinhead 3 and 4 are. I don't even remember. I think Pumpkinhead 3 was Pumpkinhead 3 Ashes to Ashes. And I couldn't even tell you what Pumpkinhead 4 is. I don't know. I think that's I don't know. That's a quadrilogy that's best left forgotten. Similar to like Species. Like I think Species might have 5 now though. I know they did 4. It was Species, Species 2, Species 3, and then Species The Awakening, which was like a terrible TV movie. I think those were 4. I don't know. Equilibrium is pretty good, dumb movie. I see it. People call it bad, but I love it. Okay, I've not seen that, so that's one to add to the watch list. I'm kind of blown away you're doing Basket Case trilogy. 1 and 2 are really good, but 3 goes totally off the rails. That's funny. The director feels that way too. And upon rewatch, I guess we'll see how I feel about it. Like Equilibrium goes dummy hard, literally. Okay, that's exciting. Meet the Spartans. I hate that movie. Yeah, I hated it too. I totally hated it. Man, yeah, we really haven't had one in a while. More genre. Yeah, exactly. We haven't had spoofs in a while. It just kind of died. After Scary, all caps. After Scary Movie 1, spoof died. Let it die. They milked it. They did milk it. They did, and that's what they do. I mean, that's when anything is successful, they just milk it dry, and it sucks because the good stuff, the quality stuff, is generally at the beginning, and then the rest of it it becomes so much of a quantity until people just don't want it anymore. Like, remember they tried superhero movie and nobody went to see it? Like, that was towards, it was just dying. No one cared anymore because they just beat a dead horse so many times that people were just like, you know what? This is just dumb. Like, we're not like here having a good time, so we're not coming anymore. And that's what happened. I think that's what happened to the spoof movie. It's sad because there's a lot of good spoof movies out there, like you say, but it died after, I would say it died, a little bit longer after that because I like Scary Movie 2. But that's around the time Bogus Wench Project, all the Blair Witch spoofs, which were terrible. Speaking of, what are your thoughts on the Naked Gun reboot? I didn't even know there was a Naked Gun reboot coming. I don't know. I'm not the biggest. I've liked the first one, and I've only seen the sequels maybe once, and maybe clips. Like not. I've definitely not seen the sequels enough to know them. I mean, I'm never really for a reboot, man. And I don't know. To me, no Leslie Nielsen. I don't know, man. I would say I'm not feeling it. Speaking of Steven Spielberg, have you ever seen Young Sherlock Holmes? For me, is child, so I'm biased. I've never seen Young Sherlock Holmes, but I would love to. Who's in it? Like, and what era is that? Is that late 80s, early 90s? I've never seen Young Sherlock Holmes. Nah, Avatar kind of rocked. I used to hate them, but they grew on me. Okay, fair enough. A lot of people feel that way and like Avatar. That's fine. Yeah, overrated is what I mean. I saw it once, and that was more than enough. Yeah, I saw it in the 3D, paid the extra money. Like it was all the hype was going on. Oh, it's going to win Best Picture. It's going to gross $3 billion. It's going to change cinema. And I know at the time it really did change cinema because once it came out, the big 3D craze was on again. I mean, My Bloody Valentine was in 3D. There was big post-conversion 3D movies, like My Soul to Take was a movie that was shot in 2D, and they said, fuck it, Avatar made a lot of money, post-converted to 3D. That was the gimmick at the time. Avatar, The Last Airbender from M. Night Shyamalan, fuck it, and put it in 3D. Like, they were really, really, really trying to sell 3D because Avatar made so much money. They were like, let's see what we can do. And they had a lot of movies that tried to, like, piggy bank off the success of Avatar. Like there was that movie, I feel like, why do I think Sigourney Weaver was in it? I think she was. It was like, oh my God. And James Cameron was producer of it. It was like they were like rock climbing. What the fuck was the name of that movie? That's going to kill me if I don't look it up. So bear with me, y'all. I'm going to have to look this up right now. I forget. It was something with, James Cameron. We've completely just gone off on a tangent here, but like I need to think of the damn name of this movie. It came out shortly after Avatar, and like was trying to. It was like, oh, from the producer of Avatar, and I was like, God damn it! Like this is a bunch of nonsense. You're trying to sell your film, but I understand why. What was the name of this movie? Let's see. This is him as a writer, producer. Sanctum was what it was called. It was such a mid movie. And I was like, bro, you're trying to sell me this like it's the next big box office movie. Like, shut up. Like, just shut up. Especially because some of the imagery in the second really yeah, I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I just, there was definitely a time when spoof movies became overhyped and underproduced. It definitely killed the genre. There were some great ones before that. Exactly. Yeah. And that happens with everything, man. Like it happened with the slasher movie. As much as I love slasher movies, by the late 80s, it was just dying and it had to go away. And then the only thing that brought it back was a movie like Scream that was self-aware. It was like, we know we're a slasher movie. Now let's watch a movie. I think that was the big thing that brought slasher movies back. And even though I'm not a neo-slasher guy, that's what the spoof movie needs. It almost needs a self-aware spoof, but that it's hard to do because that's the point of a spoof movie. It is self-aware. It knows it's being stupid. It knows it's being a spoof. So I don't know if you can reinvent the spoof movie. I don't think it could ever be done. And I think they're pretty much have died a cruel death. Like the parts where he's playing visual homage to Miyazaki. Oh, dude, yeah, no, and I love Miyazaki. And I know that his movie just won Best Animated Feature at the Oscars. I believe there are 4 Pumpkinhead movies, if I'm not mistaken. I can look that up too if you want. But let me catch up these comments. It's also really funny when people dog on Bantium name because that's a real term. Oh, okay. Equilibrium is a great movie. Okay. Hang on, though. Some of the later Scary movies had the best gags in the series, didn't they? I think after Scary Movie 2, they mostly suck. There are funny parts in Scary Movie 3, but the 4th and 5th one are truly terrible movies. I think Pumpkinhead 4 is the one when Pinhead from the first Hellraiser, he's in one of the movies, just not sure which one. I don't remember Doug Bradley. I know Doug Bradley was in some of the bad Wrong Turn sequels. He's in Wrong Turn 5 randomly in that. Like, just bizarre, really weird. Liam Neeson as Frank Draben. Okay. It died after Flying High too. Okay. One of the best, worst movies that to me is the best, The Return of the Killer Tomatoes. Those are fun. Again, those know they're being stupid, like they're in on it, but they are funny. Like, and I always remember the one with George Clooney and the attack of the killer tomatoes, like that. I don't mind those. At least the first one. The best movie is National Lampoon's Loaded Weapon 1. Oh my God, yes, Emilio Estevez, and I think Matthew Lillard might have been in there too. I think, I don't know why that he comes to mind, but yeah, I definitely like Loaded Weapon 1. That's a good movie for sure. Oh shit. I forgot they're fucking remaking the Blair Witch Project again because we really need that. Yeah, shit, that tells you it all. I mean, Brett just said it all. It can always be worse, but I don't understand how they can make a worse Blair Witch than the sack of shit from 2016. Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know either. Because the 2016 Blair Witch movie, which I have ranted on, when I did the Blair Witch trilogy, I did rant on that movie. It might have been my first show ever in HD, was that show. And oh my God, I blistered the 26 movie where basically you turn the Blair Witch into a fucking giant rotisserie chicken. That's what they did. I mean, horrible movie. Oh my God. I don't think they can make a worse than the 2016 either, but we'll see. I think Blumhouse is producing it, so anything is possible, my friend. Hot take, I don't even hate Blair Witch 2. Yeah, you told me that. I kind of do, even though I like Joe Berlinger. I do like the filmmaker. Not a fan of that movie, but it's better than the 2016 movie, which there are some probably diseases that are better than the 2016 movie, if I'm being perfectly honest. Honestly, the people attracted sort of tell me Naked Gun reboot might actually be decent. Okay. They all seem to be people I'd probably attach if I want to. Oh, attached to it. Sorry, I said attracted. Sanctum, that was the one. Yes. Speaking of Gremlins, Gremlins 2 is greater than Gremlins. Gremlins 2 is a true laugh out loud movie for me. Wow, that's a hot take. Now, I have to ask, Alpha, since you're saying this, have you seen the Key and Peele sketch of them being like the writers, producers in the creative room of like how coming up with the Gremlins 2? You have to see that if you haven't, because it's so funny. Like, one of the best Key and Peele sketches ever. Especially if you love Gremlins 2, watch that sketch and thank me later. You will love that. Young Sherlock Holmes is 1985. And fun fact is the first movie with a CGI for like 15 seconds. It took them 9 months. Wow. That's great, man. That's so cool. I'll have to check that out. I've not seen that. I've never even heard of it. I don't even know who's in it or anything like that. I know you're a big House MD fan, and they always did the Sherlock Holmes thing with House and Wilson. Like that was always the big, like, kind of like tongue-in-cheek wink to you. I know we both love that show, House. OMG, Gremlins 2 is hilarious. Yes, it is. Gremlins 2 is awesome. Night Beast, schlocktastic. The trash picture shows in the house. Yes, Night Beast is schlocktastic. I will second that, Marty. Hope all is well with you, man. Pumpkin Ashes to Ashes. Yes, that's right. Just looked it up. Okay, and that's the third one or the fourth one? Yes, Loaded Weapon 1, Tim Curry, Sam Jackson. That's right. Got that right, Ginger. Okay, hell yeah. So we got some fans of that in the house. That's really cool. But yeah, no. Let's see. Yeah, I've seen that. Gremlins 2 is way funnier than Key and Peele. I've never understood the appeal of that show. That's fair. That's totally fair. I know we're on the round table next week, so we could talk all things topics and stuff like that. Jordan Peele is an interesting topic. Like it's like I know a lot of people loved the Get Out and a lot of people loved Us, and then it seemed Nope divided more people than the other two. But for me, where he lost me was that Twilight Zone reboot, where I was just like truly pissed. I was like, man, this is the worst reboot of a show I've ever seen. Is that piece of shit Twilight Zone reboot he did, man, so bad. Like offensively bad because man, like the Twilight Zone, number one, it's the best show ever in my opinion. You can't recreate the magic. And not only did he try, he failed miserably. And like the 80s version's better, even the early 2000s version with Forrest Whitaker, which I thought he was a good host, was way better. Like he just made that show and was like politics. That's all he wanted to do. Like there was the episode where, oh my God, it pissed me off this day. It was the episode where the meteor crashes to Earth and the meteor opens and like it affects, if you're a man, you could be affected by the meteor, and it causes this entire widespread where men become angry, violent, and physically abusive to women. And then the whole Twilight Zone twist at the end of it was that the meteor was just an excuse and that all men are horrible, toxic, and abusive to women no matter what. And we will use any excuse we can get. I was like, dude, this is like, oh my God, I have so many problems with that. Like, oh, there's the one with the kid, and it was like a knock at the president, where it was like they have a 5-year-old kid, and he's the president of the United States, and they were like, oh, look who's the president at the time. And I was like, I get it, buddy, but Jesus Christ, like, is this really like, it's just a bad hour-long episode of TV. And poor John Cho had to suffer through that, man. It was terrible. There was the one with the octopus, and like there's like this rare octopus killing the people off. Like I couldn't. That Twilight Zone reboot is the worst show ever for me. I really believe that. Like I didn't like any of the episodes, and I don't even think I got through the whole series. Like I was like, I'm literally getting mad. I have to turn this off. Like third Pumpkinhead. Okay, Nope was fantastic. I haven't seen Nope, to be fair. I saw Get Out. Thought it was overrated. I saw Us, thought it was a little bit better. I definitely thought he was onto something there because that movie had a good scope. It had a decent idea. It definitely felt more like a traditional horror movie that would be more up my alley personally. I was like, he's on to something. I still didn't really like it, but it was on. It had potential. And then Nope, I didn't see. So I'll have to see Nope because I've heard a lot of good. The Outer Limits is greater than the Twilight Zone. Whoa, I like the Outer Limits, don't get me wrong, but man, the Twilight Zone, original Twilight Zone series to me is just, you can't beat it. You really can't. But like Outer Limits being better than Dark Side, being better than Crypt, those are conversations for sure. Now, granted, I like Dark Side and Crypt better, but I definitely think you can have that conversation. I think it's probably better than Historias para no dormir, which was the Spanish version, basically, of the Twilight Zone / the Outer Limits, which they even dubbed one of the Outer Limits episodes just in Spanish and aired it. That's how shameless they were. I loved the Outer Limits too. Okay, meteor shit. It was meteor shit. It was terrible. Us was based on Twilight Zone episode Mirror Image, which makes sense. That's the Vera Miles one where she's in the bus station and she sees her doppelganger. And that's granted, that's way better than the movie Us, but like Us was onto something. It just didn't capture its full potential for me. Red Rusty hates Nope. He ran it on it in his review. That's right. He went on for like 45 minutes burying that movie. Oh my God. That's one of the best Rusty reviews. And also, if anyone votes for Horror Tuber of the Month, you could vote for Rusty. I forget who won it or what the video was, but you can vote for Rusty. That 90s Outer Limits was so damn good. Totally. I've never liked anything Peele has done. He's probably say it's because I'm white and racist. Yeah, that's the thing. And like, I know, and we won't, go whole way into that, but like, I I don't care personally, like what color you are, and I'll say this, like I think I'm pretty well rounded when it comes to the genre. Like I love some Italian horror, I love me some Japanese horror. I like a lot of different styles and flavors and cultures bringing me horror. French, I mean, a lot of it, I do. Um, I don't care if you're blue, purple, but I don't care. I really don't. To me, it's like making a good horror movie. That's what I care about. It's the only thing I care about. And I kind of agree. I'm not a big fan of him either. And personally, you're right. He does make statements like that where it's like, oh, if you don't like me, you're this or that. Like, no, like I didn't like your movie. Like, same thing with the Captain Marvel lady, Brie Larson. Oh, if you don't like my movie, you hate women. What? Like that? I didn't say I didn't like your film. Like, I don't understand when people overgeneralize like that. I think, if they want to think that way, that's great. That's fine. But that's not the way it is, at least for me. Now, are there people that probably feel that way? Sure. But a piece of shit is a piece of shit. I don't care, what it came from or who it came. Well, sometimes we care who it came from. We hope that, it comes from people with talent. 90s baby tales from the crypt for me. I'm a 90s baby too. Hell yeah. Represent. Barely, but I am. 90s baby tales from the crypt for me. Hell yeah. Love and spoiler alert, Brittany. Next month, Tales from the Crypt season 4 will be reviewed and ranked on Granny's Graveyard. So I'm very much looking forward to that. That'll be in May. Man, I can't wait to see Monkey Man. I've heard it's really good. Nate told me it was great. So definitely on a Dave Patel tear because I might want to try to cast him in a thing. Oh, very interesting. Okay. So Right on Target is targeting Mr. Dev Patel for a project. Very cool. Very interesting. So yeah, unless anybody else has anything else they want to talk about on here, I had a lot of fun talking all things best of the bad. If you have catching the replay and have seen Troll 2, The Fanatic, or Crazy Fat Ethel, you can comment down below. Let me know what you think of these movies. If you want to suggest other great bad movies that I can watch in the future, I'm all for it. I'm all ears. Next week, like I said, it is the Horror Roundtable. We'll have guests on Grande's Graveyard for the first time in a long time. I think it's got to be close to 2 months, like for sure. So yeah, no, it's been a while. So we're due for guests, so definitely excited to have Alpha back on and Neon back on. And I've got to find who's the third man. I've got to find the Hulk Hogan. I've got to find the Hollywood Hulk Hogan, and I got a week to do it. So, it is what it is, but that should be a lot of fun. Brittany says, yay, looking forward to it. Now your Alien movie reviews too. Can't wait. Yes, that's going to be when the new Alien movie drops in August. That's when I'm going to cover all the Alien movies because I just recently rewatched all of them. So they're fresh in the brain. I've been playing Alien Isolation, so totally in the Alien mode. So very excited for those two, Brittany. Thank you so much for checking that out. I appreciate it. Awesome show, always, Grande, only on the Graveyard. Thank you, Missy. I appreciate that. It's funny. There's more people trickling in as we're ending here. But everybody, I wanted to say thank you so much for checking in, watching the show. Like I said, you have some other best bad movies. Very much appreciate if you let me know what you think they are. And if not, I hope you have a safe, happy, wonderful weekend. Check out Dawn of the Dead if it's playing nearby you. And we can catch you next time. We got it right here. Only on the Graveyard. Too sweet, peace. Good night, everybody.